Hello, good people. I know this is not a video you would expect to see from me. I'm usually more of, not animated, but definitely not live, in-person video recording. But I wanted to share this video because it occurred to me that a lot of people really love space and they love astronomy, but they don't really know where to start. And that, I feel like it's a very common experience. At least it was even my experience when I was really young. And so I wanted to share 3 books to help get you started if astronomy is something that you really want to delve into. And they're not super hard, they're not super challenging books, but I think they're really interesting, and they cover a wide range of even ages. And I even have an honorable mention, so stay tuned for that. And you may notice I had to go all out. I have my space shirt on. I even have my NASA blanket in the background because I am poor. No, I'm just kidding, I'm not poor. But I don't have an actual setup. So first things first, we're gonna start with something more for kids, honestly. And this is actually the first astronomy book I ever got. It is called Amazing Space. And let's see, who is it by? It is by Anne Jeanette Campbell. And so this book I read, I want to say, man, when I was really little, I want to say like late elementary school, I read this book. It's a little long, but it goes pretty in-depth for a kid's book about a lot of different topics, but it's still very digestible for children. And you know, it even says book of answers for kids, but I do really highly recommend this book if you really like space and want like a very beginner friendly intro into it, or if you know someone who does, or if you have a kid who does, or if your friend is just really stupid who does. I really highly recommend this book. And plus, like, this cover is really sick. Like, come on. Alright, next we have, this is really if you want to get into stargazing. I actually got this book for my birthday a few years ago. It is literally called Sky Gazing by Meg Thatcher. This is one of my favorite space books I have, honestly. It's so nostalgic for me. I even got it signed by Meg Thatcher, if you can see that there. I really appreciated her for doing that. That was really incredible. But this book essentially just goes through, you know, how to stargaze. It tells you the equipment you need. Look at that, binoculars. It tells you a ton about the sky and about space. And this really helped get me into stargazing. It taught me how to, this is literally perfect, I was literally just about to talk about this, how to look at sky charts, how to look at the sky. It taught me about the Bortle scale. You may have watched my video on that. If not, you totally should. But it was a huge, you know, step into helping me learn how to stargaze. This one is probably, again, for younger kids. I mean, not younger kids, for younger people. You can see it has a lot of, what's the word? Pictures on it. But listen. I love pictures, okay? And I am at the age where maybe picture books are considered a little too baby for me, but come on. This is really cool. And again, it's really comprehensive and really easy to understand. And it's a great place to start if you love astronomy and want to get into stargazing, or as she put it, sky gazing. I highly recommend this book. Before the final one, I have an honorable mention, and this isn't really a book, it's more of a magazine. You can see I actually have them back here, but I have a bunch of copies. I literally have so many of these magazines, but this is literally just called Astronomy, if you can see that there. And they come out monthly. I got these from a really close family friend of mine who also loves space. He gifted me a subscription for a bit, and you know, every month they come out with new additions, new features. It's really, honestly, it's really good for keeping up to date with things, for getting cool information. They have pictures in them of, you know, stars, black holes, some of them. I think I pulled out one over here that was actually about a black hole. But this one is actually my favorite so far. They have, if we go briefly through it, you know, this is one of my favorite pages. It's the sky chart of literally the entire month. This one was for November of last year, 2024. They teach you how to read sky charts. They have this sky chart as well for people who are really interested in that sort of stuff. They have actual space photography. For those of you who don't have a special camera or telescope, this is a really good way to get kind of into that and to really look at different space photography. They teach you about a ton of different concepts, and they go into depth, but it's still really digestible and easy to understand. They teach you about new projects. They teach you about literally all kinds of things. I can't think of a single thing that hasn't been brought up in this kind of magazine. Look, they even have how to read a rainbow in this edition. Like, they have so many different editions, and I highly recommend subscribing to this. I have never regretted reading through an entire magazine, and I could honestly get through one of them in like an hour because it's so good. And I highly recommend getting this. And even if you can't, they literally have a YouTube channel with a ton of stuff on it. They even talk about telescopes, like on the back of them, and in some of them there are telescope models that you can look at. This one was the one about black holes. So I highly recommend this as our second to last, not really book, but I do highly recommend this as an honorable mention. So keep that in mind. But my favorite thing that got me into astronomy, or not that got me into it, but that helped me dive even deeper into this, was Astronomy: An Illustrated History of the Universe by Tom Jackson, I want to say. Yeah, Tom Jackson. And this literally goes through, I want to say, 100 facts about space, and it goes really into detail. And this was my favorite because it's so easy to understand, but he goes so in depth with such incredible photography and pictures to help you understand, and it's so immersive to read. It feels like I'm learning. You can literally go through this one thing at a time, one a day, and learn a new fact every single day for like a third of a year. And it's so helpful. And my favorite part of this book is at the very end, because you may see here at the very end, if you ever get this book, they have just all kinds of different astronomers and information about them. And this is actually where the Astronomer of the Month idea came from. Stick around, because before March ends, we're gonna have one of those. But this is honestly where it came from, because it has one from every month, every time, and then at the end, obviously, you have your index and stuff. But this part is honestly my favorite, because you get to go through the history. Also because they got Carl Sagan. Okay, don't sleep on Carl Sagan, my hero, the man, the myth, the legend. Also, please go watch Cosmos. I'm gonna keep bringing it up every time I bring up Carl. Okay, he's freaking amazing. But you have everyone in here, even physicists like Stephen Hawking. That video is very low quality, but if you want to go watch the video, that is from this book. Stephen Hawking is in here. But yeah, so we go through essentially everything about astronomy in 100 different ways in this book. I highly recommend it. It's by Thomas Jackson. So these were all of the 3 biggest books I recommend if you're getting started in astronomy, don't know where to start, and if you're willing to pay for a magazine service, I highly recommend the astronomy one. But honestly, these are what I would recommend to anyone who is interested in getting into astronomy, who wants to learn more about astronomy, and just anything in general that has to do with space. They're highly digestible, they're really interesting, and they're really fun. So yeah, have a great night. Tonight is actually a very clear night for those of you in Georgia. Go outside. I know the storms have been really rough lately. I hope you all are doing safe. I hope you all are doing well and are safe. But yeah, go check out the sky tonight. And go check out my Instagram at Skies Over Georgia if you want to see my pictures for tonight. I'll be doing my best to get them out there as soon as possible. Oh, and also, consider subscribing.